such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go, everything else is like, still the weekend, you fucking go.
Hey. What's going on, everybody? It's Monday.
It's Monday, you son of a bitch.
You heard the man. It's Monday. Let's get motivated. Let's do what we do. It is me, A-Rock Sealy, a.k.a. Amir Sealy, and that man over there on the other side, you know who he is. The guy with one name says it all. Talent in so many ways. The man is capable of doing so many different things, in and including bringing people on and turning their lives around. So, with that having been said, I'm going to just segue into my man and find out how his weekend was and see how everything was going. How was the weekend, King?
And I knew you was going to have a nice shirt and tie on, so I grabbed one of my good shirts instead of me a clean Monday. We call this clean Monday. Now, hey, man, weekend recap was awesome. Super awesome, actually. You know half of that because you hung out Friday, but we all know my weekend start pre-Friday. So I think we kicked it off Thursday. Cecil's was phenomenal. Amir could attest to that. Those of you who watch the show not aware, Thursday nights we got the crazy after work that pops off every Thursday, produced by my man DJ, the Universal DJ Masai. Joaquin Walker band's there. He got the music between I like that fusion thing they do, by the way.
Yes.
You know, they do it something different, like DJ band fusion type of music. The crowd is always grown and fucking sexy and smart. Yeah, I found out that grown and sexy ain't enough. I need grown, sexy, and smart. That's just me. And it is that. It's dope like that. But Friday, people, believe it or not, I've been working at the Stress Factory producing a show along with my man Power for 15 years. We call it Sunday Night Live. We do the last Sundays of the month. 15 years this year. And for the first time, I finally had some time and our schedules linked up where for the first time in 50 years, working place, got the headline a weekend there. Did 4 shows. I did 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. When me came out to Friday, we had a great time. We hung out, we wilded out, drinks, food, good people, laughs. And it just so happens that I had 2 more shows Saturday night, which it just so happens that at struck midnight, was our girl Sharonda's birthday. So her family was in the building heavy. A lot of our regular kings and queens coming out representing, and we got to toast up after the shows. My thing was, what I love, I get off on when people gravitate towards the merchandise the way they do, because that means, all of this stuff is coming from the creator up here. And when it resonates with people, and it hits with people, and we connect, I love that. So a lot of people got their pink T-shirts and hoodies for breast cancer awareness. A lot of people got their talent, history of Black comedy calendars for 2023. It was just an all-around dope week. Exhausting, but a good exhausting. So I got back home Sunday, and all we had, football. We had football, beers, chilling, good people and vibes. And of course, got here to go to bed with my dogs and have a good time. Weekend was stupendous. How was your weekend? Because I seen you Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, you said Thursday and Friday, Cecil's. Like you said, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to get out to Cecil's, please come on out. Thursday is incredible. First of all, the restaurant itself is great. The food is incredible. The ambiance, the atmosphere. And it's really, just an opportunity to come on out, laugh, and see Harlem in its true essence. Because to Talent's point, and this is a running joke between he and I got stuck in one section with the Lady Eloise crew.
Keep saying that.
and it was just an incredible experience. All these wonderful older ladies, just out enjoying themselves. They look like the congregation from the Ebenezer Jones Baptist Church, but they was out having a ball, so it was a good look.
Yeah,
Then, like you said, then Friday, we tore it up in Stress Factory, which we had a blast out there as well, and just an opportunity. And If you haven't seen Talent Headline, whether it's with the Kings of Comedy or him, doing things on his own, please make your way to see this man do what he does, what he loves to do, and that's make people laugh and engage, the crowd. He's just incredible at it. Saturday was a quiet day. I had some cleaning and stuff to do around the house. So I did that, and then Sunday, just like you said, I tuned into all the football and watched all the New York teams just
Yeah,
continue to pile it on. These guys are playing so well as of late, and it just feels good to to have football back in New York a little something something. It's been gone for quite a while, so it feels good to see our teams doing extremely well thus far. So let's keep it up. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. We got to keep it going. So I'm glad we both had good weekends. And on time, right back here to be in the building to motivate on Monday. And I ain't gonna lie, today I needed somebody to talk to me this morning, motivate my ass after the long weekend I had. I was slagging and dragging, but I got it done. You know what I mean? I woke up at the right time, my little 7:30, quarter to 8. But I'm sitting there surrounded by the mutts. And for once in their lifetime, I don't know if it's because of a rainy type of vibe or whatever, they wasn't pressed to get up. So usually I open my eyes, they all, as soon as I move a little bit a certain way, they on you, they lick you like, okay, come on, let's get it. We gonna have it. And this morning, 7:30, tapped the phone, 7:30. I look around me, even a little one, the puppy, I got a puppy this big, right? Even a little one was like crouched in a little crevice. Nobody moved. Everybody was just like, and I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna sit here for a while. So I put on the news like I always do and catch up with what's going on. And when I tell you they laid there, Amir, for another hour, 20 or something, I wasn't mad, and even the one in the room, usually he knocks on his door, like, all right, send them downstairs. It's time for me to come out, No, nobody. Everybody was just on some, like it was a Sunday, but it was Monday. But I did have a chance to do my due diligence. I always go surfing until something resonates with me and pings like a light bulb, and I go, oh, we need to bring that up. We need to talk about that. You know what I mean? You and I, we motivate because we have that spirit already. But I love when certain things ping for the light bulb to come on like, oh, I didn't even think about that, but that's true. So my first topic today in Motivation Mondays, Amir, I want to address another big conception about our people that I've witnessed in my lifetime, and it's about money. Black folks, especially, have a weird, not just us, but especially us, we have a weird way that we view money and respect money. And I want to motivate people to change kind of that. If in case you're not already there, this don't apply, but maybe you'll take some of these words to somebody that it applies to. But I know a lot of people around me, and from even myself, guilty of growing up, we don't respect money unless it's a certain amount. Like unless it's in abundance, unless it's what we think is a lot of money, our respect for it and how we deal with it is really weird and kind of offsetting at times. Now, and let me explain what I mean by that. A lot of people I find they don't get serious about money because how many times you hear somebody say, "Well, that little bit of money," da, da, da. I've seen people, to be honest with you, I've seen people that, or know people, fix my little camera. I know people that I've loaned money to that when they needed it, it was like a big deal. But when I needed it back, it wasn't a big deal. Like, nigga, you gonna hand me for that little funky $50? It wasn't. It didn't smell like anything like it. It was potpourri when you borrowed the money. Now I want it back. It's funky $50. Well, fuck you. Give me my funky 50. And we have this thing about money in general that when we don't think it's a lot, we treat it a certain way. Even the people who don't have a lot or abundance, they throw a lot of it away because they don't respect it. You know, and it's like we treat money how we see money. So if you make fast money, see that's one of the things we had to learn in entertainment, right? Money came so freely, was seemingly so freely and fast. You spent it fast. It's like drug dealers. People, you'd be like, yo, they be just throwing money around. You gotta realize they're getting their hand over fist so fast. They don't have that much respect for it. Look at Pablo Escobar. This one used to bury cash in the dirt, and it was just so much. You just got to put it somewhere. Like he didn't care. He didn't try to figure out how to put it through the bank or make it a different type of liquid or credit or he didn't care about all that shit. But it was just so much they throw it away or whatever. The two major points our people, what I want to gear us up on is A, investing. B, practicing financial planning. Two different things. Uh, so here's the thing. Our people, the problem with us is, Amir, go back to what I just said. Let's talk about investing money, right? People don't think about investing until they feel they have that number or that amount of money. You can invest, believe it or not, from $5.
Yep.
If you look at a perfect example, something like Cash App, right? Like everybody use Cash App. Everybody knows get Cash. Cash App have options in Cash App to buy Bitcoin or invest it, stock market, Venmo, all those. They got those options in there. And they're not talking about 2,000, 10,000. They're like, you got $1.50, blah, 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 whatever. They even got one creative app. I seen a commercial where you buy stuff and the change goes into a savings thing. You start saving the change. You put that aside. So it'd be like $5.25. You give them $6 and the 75 cents. So sometimes again, we don't respect it. Change is everywhere in this house. But they put it to the side and invest it. You don't have to wait till you get $1 million, people, to think about investing. That's my point. And even deeper than that, and the bigger thing is financial planning. Now, you don't have to be the greatest financial planner in the world, but wherever you start to practice that, you can definitely build from it. So wherever you start to practice, you can start with. I seen a guy today talking about it, and he started with a cup of coffee. He's in a damn seminar, right? But he's drinking the free coffee that's out there. And everybody else, you know how people are, they coming from Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, blah, 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 whatever. So he's sipping his coffee and he's talking about finance. But he said, for instance, something simple. He said, this cup of coffee I'm drinking. This is a free cup of coffee. He said, hey, Bob, what you got? He holds up the cup of coffee, it's Starbucks. He said, that's $5. He said, see that? This free, that's $5. He said, now you fast forward and oh man, I hate my job. I don't make enough money. And this is tight. He said, well, perhaps let's count those $5 cups of coffee. Yeah. Then you're crying and whining, and maybe those $300 shoes. Yeah, maybe that's a $100 shirt. Maybe that's a $300 jacket. Maybe those watches. Blah, blah, blah. So these are all the things that we do. And you know, it struck a chord this morning, especially because I get up. Here's my morning, right? I get up and I gotta go to. I got some orders to fill, the post office. All the stuff is right next to each other. Thank God, my life is good with that. So where I get my breakfast sandwich is 20 feet away from Dunkin' Donuts, where I get my coffee. When I get the Dunkin' Donuts is 5 feet away from the door of the post office. So I got a mess. And then another 50 feet coming out of that driveway into the very next one, I'm in Target getting dog food. Right? So everything, that's what I mean by like, everything's like clumped right there. But as I'm walking that little 50, 60 feet from the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot to the next parking lot, Con Ed is out there doing some stuff, right? So it's all brothers, Hispanic brothers. And I'm walking, and I realize, because when I'm home in Mount Vernon, I'm very weird with how I go outside. So I got the slides on, the dirty sweats, the worn down hood. I'm slumming it on purpose, though. And I'm walking, and nobody paid me no mind. And I keep walking. I just started laughing at myself. Like I said, the first person that sees me and recognizes me will be looking at me like, yo. But I get it all the time. But I don't care because I've learned from some of my colleagues coming up that being wealthy or rich or well off, wherever you find yourself to be, it's not in how you dress at all. Some of the richest guys I know in the business and out of it, just millionaires in general, if you see them at a baseball game or somewhere, Starbucks, whatever, you would never know what they have because they've practiced financial planning. They know that I don't have to spend a lot and waste a lot of money on things that make me look rich because I'm already rich. Our people who have less spend so much money on trying to look the role that if you pull a curtain back on their bank account, they ain't there.
Yeah.
So, man, if you want to be look like $1 million, well, make the million first. Then look like the million. So if somebody check your pedigree, nigga, what? You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Then a guy had a video, and this was the best interesting thing I seen on this life planning thing and financial planning thing. The guy takes a jar. He starts filling it with little golf balls. I don't know if you've seen this. And to the top with the little golf balls, and he holds it up to the classroom and he says, "Is this full?" And everybody, you can't fit no more golf balls in this. So everybody's like, "Yeah." He goes, he goes in his little bag, goes out of the bag of like rocks and pebbles. Do like this. The rocks and pebbles start to fall and fill into the thing, into all the cracks and crevices of the balls. And then he holds it up. Is this full? They like, oh yeah, no. And he goes back in his bag, pulls out a bag of like sand. And that whole bag fits in there in the cracks and crevices of the balls and the pebbles and everything. And now he goes, is this full? And everybody like, yeah. So he closes it and he goes, this is life. He said, when the tennis balls represent the very important things in your life, the most important things in your life. Those are the biggest things. The next size down is the pebbles. Those represent the next important things in your life. He said, in the sand, that's just all that shit around us, all that extra clutter shit that really don't matter. He said, but if you pay attention, if I was to start filling this jar up with the sand first, nothing else could fit. He said, this is what most people do in life. You worry about the wrong things in the wrong order. He said, the tennis balls are the shit you care about the most. That's why they're the biggest I put in there. Your mom, your dad, your kids, your family, your loved ones, you know, all that important shit, your job, all that. He said, and then the pebbles. The pebbles are the next important things that you need in life. Your job, your car, maybe, your house, those things that put schools and stuff like that, finances and money. He said, and then the sand is, like I said, it's just all that extra fucking feather and flutter in your life that don't mean shit. Prioritize things correctly. He said, because if I poured the sand in first, none of this important shit can fit. And now you're worried about the sand and you're missing out on important things in life. I thought that was deep as shit.
No, you're absolutely right. It's so funny. I mean, this topic in particular is one that kind of plays in my head quite often, only because I know, to your point, on a grander scale, we are so enamored with, to your point, looking rich or having the perception of looking like we have money, unlike other groups of people who pool their resources together and or even work together so that, technically speaking, everybody does have resources or a pool to pull from. I always smile because our community in general, we the brunch crew. You can't tell me that anybody brunches more than we do. Nobody brunches more than African Americans. We every week somebody's got a brunch, and my timeline is flooded with them. I see us. I said every week we have a brunch, guys. I don't see the same energy. I don't see the same for you guys lining up to support your friends who have businesses, whether it's comedy shows, whether it's your friends who have other kinds of businesses. I don't see the same energy. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong for celebrating life and for enjoying yourself, because some of y'all work hard, so you should play hard. But here's what you need to really understand, to Talon's point about money. Your money's supposed to be working for you. And the only way you can make that happen is you have to discipline yourself to start understanding that ideology. You can't think that your money's working for you when every month we at the bottomless mimosa brunch. I mean, every weekend we at the bottomless mimosa brunch. It's not working for you. All you did was take your resources and lend it to another community. Now, again, same ideology, same concept. Oh, my friend's having a Zoom party of some sort to, introduce me to whatever. Let's start doing some of that stuff. Let's start understanding that as we help each other, that's how you continue to keep that money circulating, not only within the community, but amongst your friends. I saw this today. It's funny that you said you saw what you saw. I think I saw a meme today, and I screenshotted it, but I'm paraphrasing it. But it said something along the lines of, um, "Our job isn't to battle each other. Our job is to work together. We battling against poverty, not each other. Y'all got to
Mm.
start, thinking about that." And like I said, that doesn't mean that some of y'all who, like Talon said, have gotten it together. We're not talking about you. We're talking about those of you who want to appear to have it together. I'm talking
Right.
about those of you, and I say this all the time, especially when it comes to my males and my females. All my dudes who, got 999 pairs of Jordans. Jordan's already a billionaire. He don't need you to continue to get the newest version. We're just gonna keep it 1,000 for you. Sometimes we got to keep things a little funky. Same thing for you ladies. Oh, I got a Birkin bag. I got a Louis Vuitton bag. Look, Louis Vuitton's gonna be all right too. If you ever actually do your real homework, you're gonna find out that a lot of these brands, they put these things out just so you can spend your money on it.
That's
Because
a
if you
fact.
notice other
That's a
groups of
fact.
people, they don't spend their money on it. Like Talon said, I know plenty of people who I see moving around who are in, like you said, the upper echelon tax bracket, but they don't appear to look like it. They don't act like it. You can see them walking around in our city and whatnot. I remember one time, one of my boys, we were walking. He bumped into a former senator. They spoke, him and his wife. They walking on 6th Avenue, just chilling. And when he got away from me, my man said, "Yo, that dude is worth $800 million." He didn't have an entourage. He didn't have security. He didn't have any of that. Him and his wife were just enjoying our city, just walking along, minding their business. We have to we have to have a better relationship, like he said, not only with money, but with our concept and understanding of it. And it starts with
Yeah.
educating yourself. I promise you. I know sometimes we think it's hard to get into that space where you educate yourself. But I'm a firm believer of this. Incremental steps are so powerful and so paramount to everything that you do. Doesn't make a difference if you're talking about money. Doesn't make a difference if you're talking about life. You got to start with those incremental steps. And like he said, incremental steps might be you get you one of these apps, Acorn, or some of these other apps that incrementally take the change that you have, and it allows you to invest, like he said, in smaller increments. Because we never think about this. Right now, you in year whatever. 5 years from now, that could grow to an amazing amount of money that you didn't even think about because it's been doing it by itself. It's just incrementally growing. It's compounding, by itself. Second thing I want to encourage everybody, and I promise you, for those of you who don't have it, I'm tired of saying side hustle. Get you something that you're passionate about that allows you to make extra income that is not your job. As somebody has brought to my attention, you can't pass your jobs down. Talent might
Right.
be able to only because his son has decided that he wants to be in the same line of work. But even then, he can't really pass it down. His son's got to carve his own pathway. He's got to make his own way. For some of y'all are bankers. Y'all work for these major Fortune 500 companies and all this stuff. And all that's great. I happen to fall into that category too. But I can't will that to my kids. You can't will those things to your kids. So you got to start coming up with a game plan right now to not only take care of yourself, but ensure that your kids and your kids' kids hopefully will be okay. Now, I'm not telling you to not teach your children to learn how to fend for self, because that's another key thing that we got to do a better job of. So sick and tired of having these conversations with you parents who out here, well, I just want my kids to have better, like you had it so bad. The real reason why so many of y'all are able to do the things that y'all are able to do is because you had to figure stuff out. You had to work towards things. Some of you, for those of you who live in New York City, T could attest to this. Everybody had got their summer youth story or got a summer youth story to speak of. Whether you work summer youth yourself or your people's work summer youth and you had to go with them to get that little bitty check that seemed like it wasn't that big a deal, but it got you a new pair of Pumas and a Latigra and a new pair of Lees. So it was good money. We
Right.
got to get back to understanding that it's the smaller incremental things, like I said, that lead to all the big things that we think are so great. And then lastly, I'll say this and I'll turn it back over to T. Get into a space where you not only learn to respect money, but understand that money is just a tool. It's an instrument that gives you or affords you and allots you the opportunity to do some of the other things that you want to do in life. That's really what money does. I know everybody's like, no, I want to be rich and this and that and the third. And again, T could attest to this because I could attest to it. We know people who have money. Some of them miserable as hell. So it ain't the money. You got to figure out what that inside thing is that makes you, you know, want to be a part of this universe and give to the world. And then you got to figure out how that translates into a way for you to make resources that then allot you the lifestyle and the life that you want and love.
That's a fact. That's a fact of mundo, brother. It's funny because I was in my jukebox mode last night singing in the bar, and Money Can't Buy Me Love. And that's one of my favorite songs Blackstreet did over. But yeah, it's like that, bro, because the financial planning starts with you have to look at finances a certain way. And again, like you just said, this is the difference in our, counterparts, other people and other colleagues of other colors. They look at money and they recognize the value of what it means to them immediately, not a certain amount from the gate. I'm gonna give you a perfect example of who impressed me when it comes to financial planning and not so much. Well, you could say investing too, because it starts there. We get a lot of foreign entities in this country, and we all live in communities where we see the guys with the bodegas, the Chinese restaurants, all of these people that come from somewhere else to open these businesses. Now, these Middle Eastern people, East Indians, they like to call them. I watch these people and other foreign people that do the hard work. They'll come over here. The investment will be no big investment. They'll figure out the laws, whatever, get a grant or a loan, whatever they got to do, or they may have their own little startup money. But they'll get a bodega or some sort of convenience store or 7-Eleven, whatever they will bring 6, 7 family members to work that sucker. And they'll make it bubble and they'll make it grow. So the store, in essence, is the investment. And they'll stack the money. They don't. If you look at them, they are they are frugal, yo. They tight. They won't spend that money. Necessities only. And when that store gets to a certain point, meanwhile, let's say it took 4 years, 5 years, and that 5 years, 10 of them lived in a studio apartment or 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom. 10 of them. We can't stay with 2 people in a 3 bedroom. We lose our goddamn mind, start fighting and cursing people out. But they'll do that for 5 years. That's sacrifice. Because they're stacking the money. That's their financial plan. They're stacking it to get to a certain amount. They got it already figured out. And you know what they do with that next amount? They break half that family off, set them up over here with their own bodega, and then they'll be in another apartment. And then both of them will have more family members come over into these apartments to get it again. And every 4 or 5 years, they got another store. And another group of family go run that, and they get a new house over there, and they keep doing it. And the next thing you know, you turn around, 30 years later, they have created generational wealth.
Yes.
They have created and sustained inside their own immediate family origin what we know as generational wealth. Now, all those people that were young adults that probably now got married and had kids or whatever the case may be, that plan just keeps going, keeps going. I know black folks that can't keep their restaurant or store or whatever they barbershop, whatever they call it, can't keep it open a couple of years. Why? There's several reasons for that. One, our patience has to change. Our patience have to change. I'm constantly finding myself telling comedians whether they want to get booked or whether they want to learn how to do something or promote or market or connection or whatever the case may be, they have zero patience. You know how many times I got to go, yo, be patient, dude. You're gonna get what you want. You're gonna be where you want. You're on the list. Well, wait your turn. I don't care because you run into so and so, and I had a guy hit me today. Oh man, I ran into so and so. He's talking about the owner of the club I do on Thursday in Queens. I ran into so and so this weekend. He said, you holding it down over there, booking the thing in Thursday in Queens, man. He told me to talk to you, man. Book me in there. Anyway, I looked at my phone with a little smile, smirk, like I was like, "Are you really texting me this right now, bro?" Every room I got to go through the people. I got to rotate through all you comedians. You guys work. One sustains the other, right? They sustain each other. The calls coming. You really thought it was necessary to call me and say, "Oh, I met the guy. You know, he said to tell you." All that did was push your fucking wait time back, nigga. I don't like that. That's that whole behind back door. I'm a back door and get in there. All you do is when I'm involved, all you do is cut your nose off to spite your face. Because I'm running this thing. I got the plan. They gave me the keys to the car. Then you drive this motherfucker. We don't know how to drive comedy. You drive it. Okay, I know how to do it, and I'm driving it. But don't try to backdoor it or have somebody call for you or I met this person. We do it all the time, and we can't stay together and work together long enough to create generational wealth. Our constituencies, our other people, and our, the advocates for this thing, they do it without even thinking about it. It's just the thing to do. It's just second nature. Oh, I got this opportunity. I got this money. Blah blah blah. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And in 5 years, like you just said the truest thing. You're looking at it like $1 right now. But imagine if you tuck it away for 5 years in the right place. You go back to it, it's 1,000. But you have to think like that. It starts with the type of thought process you are already dealing with. And here's the sad part. If I gotta tell you this shit at 50 years old, because I'm gonna tell you right there, I started comedy 23 years old, and was it 23? Yeah. Something like 23, I think. And the funny thing about it, yeah, 23, it was 53. The funny thing about it, Amir, the first 10, 12 years, as I'm growing and learning and everything, and now it's going from, as you're learning, you're going from just fun to business. You gotta learn the business, or you just won't be here this long. So you go from fun to, okay, let me clamp down. You learning the business, you learn. So then by 10, 12 years in, it was like you dotting the I's, you're crossing the T's, you're planning for the future, not just your future, whoever else may need help in the future. You know what I mean? You're planning for all these things. You start to dot the I's and cross the T's. And this is why I get so upset with people I work with sometimes, who I consider friends, if they do something wrong or don't see something that's so common sense. You know what I mean? I know a lot of brothers that do business like we're still 88, 89. No, it's 2022. And that doesn't apply anymore. And you need to be smarter than that and know that. You're not questioning that.
You know what's so crazy, T? And you make a super valid point with that one. I think to your point, there's a number of things that are at play. First and foremost, we have to get off of this whole jealousy thing, because for some odd reason, we don't think in terms of, oh snap, somebody opened the door, and if I stick my foot in here, and if people come through correctly, a few of us can get in here, we can get some things done, and hopefully get some more people to come in through said door.
Right.
We have to get back to understanding that that should be a real train of thought for us. Does that mean you won't get burned? Of course not. Does that mean somebody will or won't, handle a situation the same way as you may? Of course not. But what I'm saying is, don't be deterred by the few special people who you got to work with who may or may not have understood that concept. Because in the final analysis, this is just something that I believe. They'll hang themselves. Don't be so worried about who wronged you, who did this, who did that. The universal karma is real, whether people want to believe it or not. And the interesting thing about that is that's why I'm so adamant about saying, to your point, we've got to do a better job of having these conversations with one another. We've got to do a better job of supporting each other. And I don't care what it is. Don't get so caught up on, well, that's not me. Our network is our net worth, whether people really know and understand that or not. And it doesn't mean because you have a ton of people, let's just say in the entertainment industry, that makes you much more wealthier than somebody who doesn't have, people in that vein. What I'm saying to you is the rock solid people, as Talent, just alluded to, who support you, whether it's the encouraging text messages, Whether it's whenever you put up your flyers or whatever the case may be, they repost said flyers and allow their friends and the people in their circles to know where you're moving and what you have going on. Everything isn't always a dollar amount in terms of support or in terms of helping somebody to build something. Sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes it's becoming a student of their brand.
Right.
Sometimes it's supporting their brand in whatever format you can support it. But the thing is, know that your support is paramount to helping them reach a level to which they can get to, calm themselves down, and reach back and pull somebody else along. Because at the end of the day, if we're not helping each other, then what do we have? Talent just gave you a bona fide, really simple but true example of how other ethnicities are making things work here in this country in particular. Now, don't I will, add to that, and this is a caveat that we don't talk about enough as well. Yes, their thing is a little bit different because coming into this country in particular, they have programs and things in place for them. But our problem is this, because I always look at it like this. If you really think about the amount of money that you may spend on other things, like, and I want everybody to really just think about this. Like you said, we got Starbucks coffee. If you think about the amount of money you spend on Jordans, you think about the amount of money you spend on Birkin bags or Louis Vuitton bags, you think about the amount of money you spend at brunches, and you took that same resources or took those same resources and, for instance, to a point that he started, which is investing. Let's just say you a Jordan head. $230 for a pair of sneakers. I don't know how much Nike stock is, but let's just say Nike stock is 100 and some change. You can get you two things of Nike stock, which over the course of time will mature, and then you could have as many Jordans as you like, because now your portfolio says that just off Nike stock alone, you got 3 million sitting, in a account somewhere. So now does that allow you the opportunity to, be able to go out and buy Nike, buy Jordans or whatever, other brand sneakers you might want? These are the things that we have to get better at, because they're not going anywhere. These aren't things that are going to disappear anytime soon. Why? Because they have already implanted in most of our brains that these are the things that you are must have. These are things that make you, appear to be somebody or be something. Same thing for the belts, the Gucci belts, and all this stuff that guys find themselves. I gotta show off my Gucci belt. It holds up your pants the same way the cheap belt is that you find at Ross and what you call it. I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. I like a great belt too. I just think that you got to figure out how and when to apply your resources and what to apply it to. We can't just be so willy-nilly with our resources and how we apply them, because in the final analysis, granted, you can't take it with you, but it feels good when you don't have to over worry about certain things being taken care of or certain things being done. We all find ourselves at times, where we're trying to do or overstand and all this stuff. But that's usually because we haven't, and a good portion of us are living above our means. And I say this again humbly. I'm not trying to say again, don't enjoy your life, but some of y'all are just doing too much. And sometimes you got to take a break, sit down, write out a list of what your finances are and what you might be doing, and go, you know what? Some of the stuff isn't necessary. This is a necessary evil. But once you kind of start deferring to certain situation, you're gonna find out you got a lot more resources to spend, and spend it in ways that are beneficial to you and paramount to what your end goal is. And you got to do that too. You got, like you said, you got to sit down. You got to write out how you see your life, or think about how you see your life. Some of us don't like to write. So if you're not a writer, I don't know, a vision board. Like, there's so many different things that people could do. We just have to get better at understanding. And here's another thing that I encourage everybody to do. If you have friends in HR, they work in some of these major Fortune 500 companies, whatever, your girlfriend, your male friend, and they know these things that you don't know. Ask them questions. We got to stop being so, oh, well, I don't want to ask.
I was just going to go right where you was going. Let me say this before I pass it back to you, because it's coming up on a 45-minute talk.
Yes.
I was just about to go to that without even knowing you was going into that. That's our biggest fight. If we get out of our own way, we're so worried about the next man or woman that we can't ask no questions. We can't use them as resources. You'd be surprised at how many people just don't want to do something because I don't want that nigga to say he did that for me. I don't want the nigga to die, da, 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 da. Let me tell you something. I ran into one of my best high school buddies, best friend coming out of high school. I haven't seen his mother over 20 years. When we were coming up in school, his mom and her house was the house. So when you got that place where all the guys gather and they're there damn 90% of the time, inadvertently, you're helping to raise these young men. And his mom was cool as fuck. Jackie, God bless her. I ran into her. I'm just taking Aldo, to breakfast at the diner. Get out the car. I see the son, the little brother. Oh, what's up? How's the family? Oh, he was on the phone. He's like, oh, hold on. He's like, everybody's good. My mom's in the truck because he had a trucking company. He's like, my mom's in the truck. I said, Jackie? And I go over there and I sit there about 15 minutes and talk to Jackie, and we just kicking regular shit because I haven't seen her in 20 years. And at the end of that, I hugged her and kissed her, and I said, Jackie, thank you for helping raising us, man. And Jackie was like, what? Like, no. I was like, yes. Like I said, inadvertently, even if you're not aware and you just looked at it like, oh, these kids are hanging out. No, hanging at your house kept us off the street. Hanging at your house kept us in a certain clique and unit that all those dudes, they thought twice about everything they did. And believe it or not, watching how Jackie and our parents were a certain way, back in the day with money, made you be a certain way with money. We got to lose the pride, people. Each one teach one, use each other. Like you said, you got friends in certain places. We got to make it happen. I'm sorry, I'm going to pass it back to you, brother.
Yeah, like I said, so you got to have those kind of conversations. I know, I've been finding that there are people who, for lack of a better word, like I said, we don't all understand the 401k plan. We don't all understand life insurances and things of that magnitude. But if you have a real understanding of it, do yourself a favor and do your friends and family a favor. The ones who wanted the information and who are thirsty for it, share it with them because they have no idea. So many of us are struggling because we do not understand a lot of the things that are out here at our disposal. And until we get better at understanding that, until we get better at knowing that our jobs, technically, like I always tell y'all, is to help your fellow man or woman. The best way that you can do that is if you have some information, share it. What's holding on to it going to do? I have never been a person to ever be frustrated and or upset because I saw somebody that I gave some information flourish with it. Because I know that in theory, that flourishing is going to bless somebody else some way, somehow. And the more we start to buy into that, the more we start to understand that as not only a train of thought, but the more we start to really practice that as a way of life, y'all will start to see so many more of us finding ourselves in better spaces. So many more of us will be at a crossroads where we'll now be able to really do major things when it comes to our communities and when it comes to our families. We all have beautiful children. Maybe some of us got grandchildren now. So you're thinking about to yourself, what can I do to make sure that the grands are secure and so forth and so on. It starts with having these conversations with your friends. So many of us don't even know what our friends do. We got people who, that's been my boy for years. Then you find out, what he worked for, Verizon? You know that. All these years I know this. Because we don't ask questions. We hang out, we exchange pleasantries. How's the family? How's this? How's that? And I'm not saying going in pride, because I don't want anybody to think that that's what I mean by this. What I'm saying is take and give yourself the opportunity to get to know your friends for real, for real. Get to know likes, dislikes, get to know the things that really make them tick. Get to know the things that help them, moving in and out of the spaces that they move in and out of. Once you kind of get that down packed and then start to understand that, wow, they have something that may be helpful or beneficial to me, or if it's not helpful or beneficial to me, it might be helpful or beneficial to my circle. We all have circles. We all have networks. Like I said, you have no idea how dope your network is until you start to actually utilize your network. And I'm not talking about use people because, again, like I said, people get things misconstrued. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you have real heart to hearts where the people in your circle or the people in your network say to you, oh my God, I didn't know that you do that. You know what? I have somebody I need to send your way because they were looking into that or they were looking for that, and vice versa. Stop being so guarded. Everything is what you guarding stuff for? What you holding on to stuff for? Who is that benefit? Who is that helping? As opposed to, you know what, let me put this out there. Let me let the universe know that I'm open for business. I have this wonderful service or product or whatever that I think can, help so many people. And all you need to do is go take a look at it. Y'all stop with the telling your friends, I'm gonna take a look at it, and then you be like, oh, well, a week later, I'm gonna get back. Stop. Take it. If the person called you or they thought enough of you to say, hey, I need you to take a look at this, take a look at it. And here's the big thing. If it's not something that works for you, be a man or woman and say, hey, this isn't something that I'm interested in or whatever the case may be, but I do thank you for sharing it with me. But what I will do is keep it in mind in case somebody within my network or somebody in my circle needs this. Yo, we got to stop acting like, you know, we the popo and, everybody's an op. They, they're trying to pry into your life to, get you involved in something that's going to, what you call it, 9 times out of 10. And I say this all the time, technically speaking, a lot of times opportunities are coming your way, and because it's not dressed in the way that you hope that it would be dressed, so it doesn't look like the way you think it should look. It doesn't have the bells and whistles. It doesn't have the cool suit jacket. It doesn't have the nice high heels. Then you don't want it. But the problem is that's God who keeps saying to you, or whatever your higher power, higher being saying, you asked me for a way to help you. And instead of you really taking it seriously and going, wait a minute, this might be a way to help me, you shrugging it off because go through like we playing basketball. Don't set the pick. Don't set the pick. Okay. Now you're still drowning. How's that helping you? How's that working out? I don't say that to be mean. I say that because I'm watching it time and time again. And too many of us are of the mind frame mindset that we have forever. I'm not saying that you don't. I'm not saying some of y'all won't be here for a very long time because you will. But what I'm saying is, don't you want to be here for a very long time and make that time here as comfortable as possible? Don't you want to be here for a very long time, have the resources, have the things in place so that this way you can do it the second half just as great as you did the first half? For those of you whose first half was already great, but you got to start taking the opportunities that come your way seriously. Other groups of people take stuff seriously. That's why they so far ahead of us when it comes to so many different things that we think, oh my God, nobody, we don't care. Yes, we do. We just care about the wrong things. And we utilize the wrong train of thought when it comes to the things that we care about. Like I said, again, I'm not telling you don't buy bags. I'm not telling you don't buy Jordans. I'm not telling you don't go to brunch. What I'm telling you is think about whether or not that needs to be on a constant basis and whether or not you could take those same resources, possibly put them into something else that gives you a return. Because last time I checked, bottomless mimosas for $40 at the brunch didn't do anything but get you drunk and give you some stories that you probably can't even remember because you were so toe up you can't even remember. Just saying. Um, I tell people all the time. I say, look, I'm not saying this again to be mean. As y'all can see in the background, I'm actually at a business seminar right now. But I get on Mondays, every Monday, whether or not I have a business seminar or not, because one, I want to try to motivate you guys, and I want everybody to know that your blessings and whatever it is you bring to the world is still just that. So anybody who gets to watch this later, anybody who gets to understand this and see it later, hopefully will say to themselves, oh my God, Amir, even though he's, doing these other things, he takes his time out. He wants to see us win. I just want to see everybody win. I don't care. I'm not one of those dudes who's selfish, whatever. Because here's what I do know. If you winning and I'm winning, then what we got to worry about? Everybody's going to win a circle.
There's no, like literally, there is no, when it comes to that. And I don't know why people, our people, hold everything close to the vest. Right? That's like let me hold on to this. I don't want to let you know about it and everything. Me and you and Talent has spoke about it enough times, especially with the culinary school situation, right? Went out to brunch this weekend on Saturday, and I'm talking to the waiter. I said, "Hey, I saw the help wanted sign outside. What kind of help are you looking for?" Right? He could have said, "Oh, we just looking for waiters or whatever." We got into a whole conversation. He goes to the back, speaks to the manager. There's all this stuff going on. He's like, look, you got to contact corporate or whatever. I'm looking for an externship. Nothing paid. I just need the experience in the kitchen. to be able to graduate from culinary school. He did everything in his power in that moment to get me all the information that I needed. And did I appreciate that individual at that time? Appreciated him to the highest regard. And probably gave him a tip that was bigger than what the bill was. Just because he did that. Like it was just one of those things. Like, I needed this. You went and did that, but you didn't even know how much that meant to me. And this is what is happening. And like you said, we got to stop holding stuff in.
We not only do you need to stop holding stuff to the vest, but you also have to really take into consideration, like I said, every opportunity is just that. It's an opportunity. Stop asking your friends things like if they part of whatever, or how much have you done with it? Your journey and their journey is two different journeys. Do you realize that there were people who, let's just take high school, for instance. Some of y'all, go back and go back to your reunions or whatever, maybe still keep in contact with your high school friends. How many of them were the bee's knees when you was in high school? How many of them still the bee's knees now? So you never know what journey or what pathway, you're going to be led down. You never know what, things are going to unfold within your world. But what I do know is if you don't give yourself the opportunity because you are so enamored with what somebody else did with something, that ain't your job. This might be the thing that puts you in the stratosphere that you couldn't even believe that you were. But you don't know that until you actually take the time to say, what's going on and help people, understand really up. But if you don't do that, then what are we talking about? Too many of y'all just want to, I don't know. It's too hard for me to do this and do that. So let me understand this. We got all the time in the world to do TikTok videos. We got all the time in the world to be on. We got all the time in the world to be on it. But you don't got no time to build something, an empire for you and your family. Come on now. Come on. Some of y'all are in fraternities and in sororities, which tells me that you got a super network. You don't even have like a little network. You got a super network. But you know what your problem is? Again, some of the talent I just talked about. I'm gonna feel weird asking my frat brother or my line sister to do A, B, C, and D. Why? When they took the time to bring you into the fold and all this stuff, did they not? And my last I heard, or my last guess, excuse me, is the whole purpose for being in that whole energy is so that you can build things, so that you can do amazing things. The only way to do that is to put it out there. Stop being so afraid. The only thing that beats a success or beats a failure is not trying. That's it. Right. And here's my thing: failing is, nobody has ever failed at anything. I remember as a kid. I mean, not as a kid. I remember when I had my eldest daughter. One of her uncles used to always say this, like, we should be playing on the bed, and you put the pillows up so the baby don't fall off the bed.
Yeah.
Like, don't put the pillows up. I said, why? He said, the floor has never dropped anybody yet.
the floor's gonna catch you.
Let that marinate for some of y'all. The floor has never dropped anybody yet. Our problem is everything is perception. And when you start really looking at things in specific ways, when you really start taking an opportunity to truly look and understand things, you will find that there are all kind of jewels and wonderful things in everything. But you got to start looking at it, hopefully, from that perspective. To the point that Talon made today, financial literacy, as I saw Alfreda type in the chat. Financial literacy is huge. We have to really take hold of that. That's not something that we, technically grew up with. That doesn't make it a good thing or bad thing. It just makes it something that we're just not familiar with. But how many things have you not been familiar with that then you familiarize yourself with? And not that you're expert now, but at least you have knowledge of. The thing isn't always to be an expert in any one thing unless that comes to you naturally. The thing is to find people who are experts in that thing who can then either explain it to you or help you to understand it. Again, that's why I say networks are so powerful and impactful, because you got all kind of people in your network that you didn't know. There's a lawyer in there somewhere. There's an accountant in there somewhere. There's somebody, like I said, who works in HR, who understands 401ks and some of these other things. You might have a person in your team who's into life insurance and all that stuff. But you got to have those tough conversations. And here's the thing again, don't bully anybody into anything. Give them the knowledge and information to allow them to make an informed decision. I'm going to say that
Right.
again. Give them the information and knowledge to allow them to make an informed decision. That's what our jobs are. Your job is to help people make informed decisions. Don't get caught up on the yeses and the nos. Oh my God, I went through all of this and this person decided not to. Maybe they're just not ready right now. Doesn't make it a good thing or a bad thing. But I'll tell you what, you better get ready soon because time's waiting for nobody. For those of you who are on here watching this, some of y'all are going to watch this later. Look at your age now and then just think, well, 5 years from now, I'll be this age. Again, you know how much stuff you can get done in 5 years if you just apply yourself, if you just take those baby steps. I put a meme up in a group that I was in today, and it said, "Don't discount the small steps. Don't discount the small steps." We are so ready to have these leaps and bounds. I want to be this person. I want to be that person. I always tell people, you want to be Jay-Z or you want to be Beyonce or you want to be Will Smith or whoever. That was a process. They didn't just wake up one morning and become those people. They went through a whole bunch of baby steps and at times fell, like I said, got back up and started all over again. Why? Because it's the process that strengthens you. It's the process that prepares you. It's the process that allows you, after all is said and done, to start to see the success that you so desperately want to achieve. But you got to go through the process. That's the only way to get to success. Don't let people fool you with shortcuts and all that kind of stuff.
No, and I want to say this to you, King. And when I tell you, like, I don't even know how to say it any other way. The information, the memes, and the stuff that you send me, right? We sit there and we go. You send me that stuff, and it comes divine intervention. Like I'm just like, you send me these things, and it comes at the right moment. As where you and talent are doing the things that you were doing and moving the way that you're doing the things that you do, I'm just like, wow. But what brought me to that point was the mama in the truck, and then you go over and you sitting there talking up 15 minutes. Like literally, when you said that, gave me a chill. Because when I look at you and when I look at talent and what we've been doing for as long as we've been doing it, I felt that. So, like, I'm like, you raised me too. Like, and that's what I'm gonna say right now. Like, I feel that you raised me and what you've been doing, and I appreciate you, and I just want to give you your flowers and everything else, because I can tell you that the bow tie, the suit, the everything that you do, I see you, King. Like for real.
I promise you, Prophet. First and foremost, man, I thank you for that, man. And to everybody else who's, in the chat and the people, like I said, who are going to see this later, please know this. I'm only here to champion winning for everyone. I've gotten in my head that that's part of my journey, to champion as many people into the winner's circle as I can, all while championing myself. So I don't want y'all to think that some of the stuff that I say is just for y'all. It's for me too, because I have to listen to what I'm saying and then I have to follow said advice that I'm giving or jewels that I'm dropping, as everybody likes to say. But I share that with you because, again, this circle thing is so real. Financial literacy is so real. And more importantly, just knowing and understanding that when you start taking those incremental steps, when you start doing all the things that you need to do to build your future, because you are in control of your own destiny, please don't think it's any outside forces, that controls your happiness. They don't control your financial, all of that stuff. All of these things are inside jobs. So I just encourage everybody, start doing the work. If it means starting with something simple, maybe finding a book on financial literacy, reading 2 pages a day if you're not a reader. Because as time goes on and as you gradually grow, you'll grow to 5 pages, then you'll grow to 10 pages. Before you know it, you'll be reading book after book, and the information will be seeping into your soul and into your spirit. And at that point, you'll change your future and the future of the generations to come. This has been Motivational Monday. You know how talent gives it up. We love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. And you know my saying, it's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Y'all take that with you. Monday, Prophet P, you know I love you, King. Y'all take this week. Let's make it a great one.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.